All right, welcome back. We are game 3004 in the winter 2021 semester at George Brown, and it's week 15 of our broadcast, and today we're doing our final presentations. I want to start something new. I want to start with a land acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge that George Brown College is located on the traditional territory of the Wendat, the Anishinaabe, and this is a difficult one to say, the Haudenosaunee, Métis, and the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. I'm learning. I'm going to get better at this, but I think I'm going to include this going forward. I also want to talk about our Earth Day today. I think the message for me to you and for everybody here is refuse, reduce, reuse, recycle, and rot. The 5 R's, which is, of kind of a sustainable living going forward. So good luck with this one. I think some of these are take a lot. It's a little bit of effort, but I think if we all do our part, we can make it for a more sustainable Earth. All right, so let's continue on to what we're doing today. We're talking about our final presentations, and that is week 15. Again, what does this entail? You guys are going to do your final presentations live. I think most of you at this point have submitted your presentation video last night when it was due. And the last component that's due is on Friday, tomorrow night at midnight. Will you be required to submit your last weekly report? This is an individual thing, which basically talks about what you did this week and those kind of things. So that's the last thing you have to do for me. That's due tomorrow night at midnight. We're going to follow this presentation order. Right now, it looks like we are starting off with Raven. He's going to be the presenter, and we're going to start off with farm defense, if I'm not wrong. And let's see if Raven, yeah, I see Raven's here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to let Raven share his screen. But one thing I'd like you all to remember is if you want sound to come out, then please make sure that you check off optimize for video clip or turn on sound, share sound. There is an option when you share, and I haven't made that sharing available until right now. I'm going to allow you to share. Make sure you turn those on so we can hear your sound. And sometimes sound will be very loud. So if you can turn it down as much as possible, that would be great. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing now, and without further ado, I'm going to give a chance to Raven to start going. So Raven, if you could start by sharing your screen, we're ready for you.
We said we could just play our presentation video. Well,
if you'd like to, but you're going to have to share that.
Yep. Okay.
Again, you're coming in a little low, so maybe you want to speak up as well. I'm just going to shut my video off so I can support you. All right. Yeah, one sec. There we go. I'm just going to put you in there. All right. You can see your screen. And whenever you're ready, I think we're ready. If you want to go and show us your presentation, I'm ready to go.
You can just test. You can hear this audio coming in.
Yep.
All right. So just to take us briefly before the video starts, this is just going over the project. It comes just under 10 minutes. Just to make sure the presentation and everything is on time. So, and if there's any questions at the end, then me or someone in my group might be able to answer them. Hi, my name is Raven Pelvis. I am the game producer for Team Dynamite. Our team consists of Melandro Junior Tolentino, Mensan Tran, formerly Odai Alkuni, myself, and Samuel Ko. These are our roles, the things that we were, I guess, designated to do. Everyone in the group worked on various different things. I would say we were all general programmers just throughout the entire project period, and we all worked on different aspects of the project as well. Today I'm going to be going over just a project that we worked on throughout this school semester, which is farm defense. So farm defense is a isometric tower defense game targeted for mobile. And in the game, you basically kind of take control from an overhead view. You kind of have to help these rabbits protect their farm from these kind of predatory animals that are trying to steal things like their food or maybe even harm the rabbits. So it's kind of your job to defend the base or the farm and make sure that the rabbits can kind of survive for as long as possible. The main mechanic in the game is for the player to place objects down onto tiles in order to defend the farm. Place towers can be upgraded and repaired using resources by tapping and holding onto a tile containing a tower. For dynamics, the main dynamic the player will need to deal with is the increasing amount of enemies that appear in each wave, as well as potentially maybe reconsidering the layout of their objects on the tiles permanently. From some of the slides, you may be able to tell that the game has an overall cartoonish aesthetic. This is mainly done to make sure that all of the assets work well with each other, an overall theme, and that nothing looks or feels out of place, and make the game have a simple look. Games that Home Defense was influenced by include Bloons Tower Defense and Plants vs. Zombies. Bloons features similar static levels with large amounts of enemies, all going towards the central objective, and Plants vs. Zombies features similar mechanics regarding limited amount of tiles the player has that are designated for offensive and defensive items that the player has to use. Farm defense is targeted towards a younger audience, or just relative, like the fans of mobile tower defense games, because farm defense doesn't use realistic violence and uses cartoon violence instead. It could likely be classified under everyone or everyone 10 and up under the ESRB. So now I'm just going to go through some basic gameplay footage, going over a few topics when they do arise throughout the footage. So the game is fairly simple. The way that it gets more difficult is more enemies will spawn on higher waves. So on the first wave, one enemy will spawn. On the fifth wave, 5 enemies will spawn. And like that, it will just increase by 1 enemy each wave. So it just gets more overwhelming for the player to defend their base. So going back to the plants, once a plant is placed, basically this resource meter will tick up, and then the player will be able to harvest it for resources that they can use to build towers that helps them to actually defend their base. When an enemy walks past, the plant will take damage, and some of the resources will go away. An additional thing that the player can do is they can remove objects from tiles. This might be important maybe if you don't want to put a specific type of tower in a certain spot. Maybe you want to put something else there. For the game, we also have different tower types. Currently, we have 3. So the first type of tower is this watchtower. And basically what this does is this is just kind of your normal, if a enemy walks into a certain range, this tower will do damage to them. Another tower which is similar to this, which starts with slightly higher stats, that is the windmill tower, and it's again similar to the watchtower, but the windmill tower has higher starting stats. The third tower type we have in the game is a scarecrow tower. This is more of a utility kind of based tower. The main purpose of this tower is kind of similar to the other towers which shoot enemies within a certain range. This tower will slow enemies down to enter within the certain range of the Scarecrow Tower. So in the game, there are 3 different types of enemies. So the first type of enemy is basically a mouse enemy. The mouse enemy is the fastest out of the 3 enemy types. It also has the least amount of health, but it is the fastest. The next enemy is the large enemy. This one is probably the tankiest of all the enemies. This one has the most health, but as a result of that, kind of has the slowest speed as well. And the last type of enemy is the in-between enemy, which has an in-between amount of speed and health, but the thing that makes them unique is the fact that they are the only enemy type that can actually do damage to not just plants, but also do damage to the player's towers as well. So when this fox enemy gets close to a tower, or rather they get range of the tower, the fox will shoot a projectile at the tower and the tower will take damage. And then if the player wants to increase the health of that tower again, they will need to repair it. So in the game, in order to repair towers, basically the player will have to hold their finger, or in this case just the cursor, tap and hold over a tile that contains an object on top of it, and they'll get this pop-up menu where they can interact with the object and do whatever they may need to do with it. So from this menu, you have different things that you can do, things like having the opportunity to upgrade a tower, and doing so allows you to choose between things like fire rate, range, damage as well. Over the course of development, many lessons were learned by everyone on the team. Things done well include features being implemented consistently and on time, as well as additional experience for everyone in the group, being able to work on a tower defense game and in a team environment. Things that were not done as well or could have been improved upon was the disproportionate amount, workload for individual features that's worked on by different team members, the lack of a consistent structure for the scheduled weekly meetings, features that may have been forgotten during development, and Farm Defense maybe not feeling like a unique game compared to the other mobile tower defense games. In the future, features that could be added include a larger map to help give the mini-map and camera movement more of a purpose in the game, dynamic enemy pathing with multiple routes for the enemies to reach their objective, and a story mode with levels to help give the player a reason to keep playing the game if they maybe just want to, have different objectives, or if they don't want to just continue playing the endless mode instead. So that wraps up the information that I have. I think Home Defense is a good game to maybe add to our portfolios, and it's also a good game to maybe continue working from if we want to continue working as a group or add our own spin on things and maybe change something and maybe, tweak things and do it that way as well. I think that's the end of the video.
All right, that was great.
If anyone has any questions.
That was fantastic. I'm just going to bring your screen off screen just so that way you can just get questions. So it's going to be a bit black for people who are watching online. Anyone have any questions before we move on to the next group? Raven, that was great.
I got no questions.
It's great. Raven, that was really great. Lots of work that you've done and your team has done for this one. I think I'm really kind of impressed that you've hit basically all the markers that I would have liked for your game. I think these are good things. I think the other thing that I can remark upon is that I think it is a good start, for your game. I think what you can do is you can take this thing further for sure. I think there's a good foundation for some of the stuff that you did, and I'm really happy with the way that you produced everything. The video was good, so thank you so much for that. Really appreciate the work that you guys have done, and good job. All right. So the next group that is up right now is Kat and her Skyrat. All right. So Kat, if you want to share your screen, then I'm gonna put you guys on YouTube. All right. Whenever you're ready. All right.
Maybe I need to do something extra to share audio. Is that something I need to do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Kat Simmons. Our team is Team TBN. I have pre-recorded a video. The video is quite concise, so I'm extraordinarily happy to answer any questions afterwards. Yeah, I thought that it was more sensible to pre-record this. Please let me know if there are any issues with sound or video or anything by statement, and then I'll stop it. Here we go. My name is Kat Simmons. My student number is 101209244. Forgive me for all about you. It seemed to me that this day would drag on, and so, like bards of old, I turned to song. The last weeks left us tired and stressed and mad. They also left us this runner, Skyrat. Today, I stand alone, but here's the team. Much like all of you, they are unique. Each brought their strengths, and none brought weaknesses. Let's only talk about their weaknesses. Blair is our lead software engineer. He's the zone of all our code frontiers. Cameron turned his skills to UI. If users are the diners, he's the chef. Luca took charge when it came to gameplay, and any day with Luca ends a good day. Dumont worked on game design and killed it. We made it, he QA'd it, we rebuilt it. Johnny is a programmer and artist. We got our animations in and started. Then there's someone else involved here too. I don't know, but she likes all of you. Now let's talk about our influences. Better than at least our influenzas. Coronavirus joke. The obvious, the classic Temple Run. The craft is in here too to bring the fun. What monster did they influence exactly? A platform runner. That's a way of saying it's not endless. Yeah, it's on the roadmap, so suspended. Thematically, it is farmyard running. Literally, you would use your cunning to jump and dodge, pick up, stay focused, and gather points just through your slogan. Sadly, iOS is out of our reach. See, we can't yet climb the money tree. This game's for Android. Apple guys, we're sorry. Must distract some sadness with our story. The story of the game is one of birds and cats and toasts, but flying? That's absurd. Our pigeon races round and round a track, trying to escape this farmyard trap. Pigeons, as we all know, not so smart, but out of stupid sometimes come a art. Our art style uses voxels, less computing. And for our stupid pigeon, we're all rooting. We won't spend too long here, we've been before. But if you've got leisure time to pause, take a read through of our NDA. Essentially, it's fun and funny, eh? For whom is our game then? And here you are. For anyone who likes fun, that's a fact. If you're looking for an answer serious, the rating of our game is not mysterious. The game is really meant for kids, you see, but everyone according to the SRB. So let's have a look at what's inside of the game we've so far advertised. Our hero dodges left and right and jumps, and if into any enemies he bumps, his health goes down, and though you cannot hear, the music becomes harsher to the ears. At corners, he turns automatically, which leaves more times for kids to watch and see the cuteness of the pigeon's tries at flying. All in all, pretty gratifying. Around the final corner, here we're turning, and so it's almost time to cover learning. And while we finish off, I'll ask you wonder, so whence should our game go from now? This is an awkward silence part where I mistimed the end of the video, so I'm just like awkwardly waiting. So I'm gonna awkwardly speak in real life, but while we watch me watching our own video.
in past tense. Oh, almost finished. Okay. Miss Stein.
I think you'll see from this we were quite busy, but so in a casual way we retroed ourselves busy. Most pertinent became the need for poker. And though you might think that excuse is bogus, it's been a hard run this semester, Tom. And while the work hit us all like an sensitive rhyme, next time I think we all agree that planning with more diligence would lead to more enchanting gameplay and more satisfying results. After all, we see our missteps, we're adults. Perhaps if we manage that plan, a game with some more polish would be like. Let's put the past behind us and look forward. What will we do next? Well, last quarters. And by that I mean generate procedurally, and maybe split the sections seasonally. The charm of our small game, though, is its humor, and into that we'd like to lean much sooner, perhaps with a scene or real voices, and maybe give the player some more choices. We hope the poem hasn't been too pitchy, and I hope my criticisms haven't been too never mind. We're all glad to be handing this game over, and importantly, with love, moreover. We want to also thank for everything. It's been a great 3 years, and like the spring, it's time to run. Thanks for everything, Tom.
Okay, there you go. Now you can see the kind of things I watch on YouTube too. It's all food. That is our final presentation of the meat of it. Like I said, if you have any questions or anything, I'm here, very happy to answer. I believe the team is here too. I'll stop sharing my screen now.
All right, thank you for that, Kat. That was very interesting. I don't think I've seen a final presentation like that before. So that's, I mean, I'm being positive. I really like the rhyme, and it's it definitely differentiates you guys from what I've seen in the past. Maybe even what I'll see in the near future. I don't know if I've seen that, but I think it's interesting. I think it does add to things. I think it makes it more fun. So I think it was a good idea, definitely. In terms of the gameplay and stuff, again, I think you said it. I think there needs to be another level of polish, maybe another round. But I think in terms of the game itself, I think you've met, from what I've seen, I think you met all the requirements. So that's really, really great. And I'm really happy that you guys went through the process, which is what this whole semester has been around, how to make a mobile game and all that kind of stuff. So thank you so much for doing that, Kat, and for your team. I think you guys did a great job. And yeah.
All right.
All right.
Thank you so much. And yeah, I think we all feel the same way. There's definitely more that we could do with it.
Yeah.
But we kind of were like, let's just get the requirements down. At least we'll go through the process and we'll learn what it is. So it was extremely valuable, and for that I know everyone's great.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, so now we're on to the next group. It is Maxwell and Salik for Hamstronaut. When Maxwell and Salik, when you're ready, or when, I think it's I guess it's going to be both of you together for the last surprise. Come on board.
Can you hear me?
I sure can. All right, just 1 second. I'm just going to pull your screen on. 1 second here. There we go. All right.
Hi, my name is Salik, and we was a big lost surprise. And the game we work on is called Hamstronaut. So here's our team members. Joseph is the general programmer. Shimran is the gameplay programmer and game designer. Maxwell is the lead software engineer. Tyler, the radio and general programmer. Amber, the artist and programmer. And Nisa, becomes the game producer. So our game history, the main character is called Marco. He is a hamster who is an astronaut and is trying to save his friend Polo. And both of them was captured by aliens. They were both on a space station, and Marco somehow escaped, and he had to defeat the aliens, overcome the obstacles, and save his friend Polo. So the game overview, the game type is a 3D platformer. And the game setting is a sci-fi. The game is in a space station. Half of them is in a space station, and half of it is outside. And our target platform is Android only for now. I think none of us in our team have a Mac. And our influencers. So we wanted to we use Crash Bandicoot for influence. Uh, we did not want to clone it. We rather use the basic game concept. Like if you see here how the camera follows Crash, we use the same thing for our. It's quite similar for our character when he jumps, it has the same effect. Uh, and Crash jump on his enemies to defeat his enemies, but our character shoots with it. And here you have it bouncing, and with it, here you can see how it's bouncing for players. Like it has the same feeling. And for our ND, so for the mechanics, you have the basic mechanics to shoot and kill the enemies, overcome the obstacles. You can jump. You use a joystick to move. The inventory button, and you have the pause and quest system, which you can check where you are with your quest system. Our quest system is to collect some gold which are hidden in the level, and you can check the counter every time you tap on this question mark here. And for the dynamics, so the player will use these abilities to overcome the level, like the player can shoot and jump. And for the aesthetic, the level feels more a technological level with background music, like you have the sound of a spaceship and so on. And the way the character moves, it feels like it stays like it's not too quick or too smooth. And for our target audience, so the age range is mainly from 3 to 15 for children. And as the level difficulty increases through the game, I'd say people from 15 to 30 as well will be interested in the game. And based on the entertainment software rating board, it is available it is fair to everyone since it does not have like any violence in it. It has a mild shooting and no foul languages. So the lesson learned from the retrospective we did last week, the positive things, we had a good organization and good team. Everyone delivered their work on time. From good organization, we were ahead since the midterm. We had a great experience with GitHub, especially when managed conflicts is concerned. And we also had a great experience with HR management. The negative things, someone tell me that Jira is better than Trello. I'm sorry for using Trello. I did not know that. Lack of time to add more polishing. We did this in one semester. Not everyone was hyped for a platformer. The thing is that some of our team, at the beginning of the semester, we voted what we wanted to do, and some people voted something else. But in the end, platformer got the most votes, and this did not affect the end result. Only that some people did not feel for a platformer, and eventually we have some minor bugs still there. And for the future possibilities, obviously we want to fix the bugs we have, add more levels to the game, and also different characters with different abilities. And also we want to polish the game with more political effects and so on. And now Maxwell will deal with the game.
Okay, so just give me one sec as I just got this up. Video. Oh, hold on. There it is. Okay. Well, can you guys see my screen?
Yep. Go ahead.
Perfect. The only thing I'll say is I'm really sorry that you're probably going to hear the audio from my phone in the mic as well as what's playing through the screen, but I can't do much about that other than just holding my phone away from the mic, I guess. So this is our kind of startup screen. You got the options where you can change our volume settings and sound settings if you so choose. Graphic quality, you can invert the controls or the jump and attack as well. There's instructions that'll explain the story, prompt, and the control scheme. And then, if you want, we can just start the game up. Got our little starting station here. So you can collect these seeds that will be available to heal you. And you can jump. We've got our mini map. You can pause, save the game if you want, and you're away. And so once you go forward, it'll ask you to accept your quest to collect the 10 gold to open the final door. And if you accept it, these will appear, just like our purple seeds, but these are for healing. So we've got enemies here. Oh, and that was a demonstration of the falling. So we can shoot these guys before they get to us. Got our laser hazards, and I just reached the elevator. Happens every time. Okay. So it takes us up here, and we find this little sort of hidden golden one. The enemies, I'm not going to make that. No. I can demonstrate the healing. And here we have another type of enemy. Try to get to you, and will do damage over time if you don't escape or kill it. Here's another type, like a drone that'll charge up a little shot and shoot it at you. Oh, and occasionally there's some physics errors that are going to cause me to spin. Those will go away eventually. So here's another type of enemy, and they kind of like push you when they hit you. Heal up again. For this whole section, I will say the one nagging error in our game is the camera collision is very fidgety, and I hadn't really set it up until after I had built this section. I probably should have spent more time fixing it because it can be a bit of a nuisance. But for the most part, at least if you know where to position the camera, it'll function fine. Collect all of the golden ones so you can see at least what changes when you do. Now we are above the station. It's cold, vast emptiness. It's space, but at least you can see the cool background. And we got another little golden one here. Oh, whoops. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this little section of falling platforms off to the side is another special one. And here, at least this is the new stuff since our last presentation. There are two diverting paths. One is harder than the other. For the sake of showing both, I'm just going to give us a little save file. Update my first one there. And I'll show you what is supposed to be the easier one first. It's debatable which, well, no, the other one's definitely harder and longer, but this section in particular can be a bit of nuisance. Just because where those lasers will be when you get there varies. And this is where both sections will meet up. We have this spinning area with a bunch of these guys planted around that'll knock you around and hit you into the laser if you're careful. Or you can just walk around the edge. So now we have another section with some blinking platforms instead of the other types that we've seen. And this will lead to our last little section. To get to there, normally it's not too bad. I will at least show that you. Oh, wait. Oh no. Okay. I meant to. I guess if there's one change I would make, these should probably blink a little slower because apparently they don't actually want to affect you too badly. Oh, shoot. It looks like the ones on this side actually are. I think I. Oops. But I'll heal up before our final little confrontation with these three guys. And if you weren't able to collect all of the golden seeds, this will be the exit portal here, and it will tell you you escaped, but you weren't able to save full. You can choose to play again if you want, but I'm going to bypass that and load our previous save so I can go back to where we were before. Do the hard path instead. This part in particular isn't necessarily harder, but this one, at least for the sake of getting the golden seed, is a little tougher. Although I've done it enough times that I probably know exactly where to go for the safest navigation, or not. But I got the seed, which is what counts. And now we have met back up with the original area, although if you go from this side, you can more easily see that there's one more seed here, which will, I guess, if you're on this side, it kind of makes it harder to see where the lasers come from, so that adds a bit of difficulty to coming from that side specifically. Last but not least, there is one more seed over on that side. Now that we have all of them, the final door is open. We'll pass these guys again. And we can take this exit instead, where it'll say we managed to escape and save Colo too. And that is, main menu didn't want to allow me to fix that. Okay, and now we're back at the main menu, and that's the game. Thank you.
All right. That was great. Is there anything else that anyone wants to add from your team, or is that it, Maxwell?
I don't know. Do any of you, Alex, do you have anything, or anyone else in the group you want to? No, that's it for me.
All right. So comments for me. Wow is all I can say. I think it's really complete. I think you guys did a great job in terms of all hitting every requirement possible. I think it looks really fun. Like it looks like a really fun game. There's a lot of polish in the game, for in your game that I haven't seen again in a single semester, which is awesome. And I think Unity really helps with that. But I mean, you've got everything. You've got loading and saving, 2 variant paths, a bunch of stuff that I didn't even ask for that you added in there. So I think it's super awesome. Your final product, and I think it's something that you should consider. Definitely, thinking about. Maybe I'm not sure if all of the assets are things that you can use. Maybe you can answer that one. Can you are they free to use?
So all of the space station walls and stuff, those were all things we got. All of the platforms, the fancy ones, the ones that blink and stuff, those were the ones we made. The enemies and the astronaut were. I'm not sure if whoever actually grabbed them, I'm not sure if they're like commercially usable or just for the sake of projects that you're not going to be making money off of. Shimron, as he said, he made the enemy booth using the DSX graph.
Yeah.
Tyler said the scenes are pretty open.
So the reason why
But
I'm asking because, you know, if all you need to do is if you need to swap assets for, let's say you get you know, an artist or whatever to swap out your assets with your own, let's say, or ones that you can do that. I think there's some great value in putting this up. I mean, it is your own game, right? I mean, it's just one more step to put it up on the Google Play Store there, and it doesn't take much if you guys have access to a Mac. It doesn't take much to take this and translate it into iOS as well. So, you know, I think there's a lot of potential here, and that's why I'm mentioning it, because I think there's a lot of polish. There's also some issues, some areas that you can improve things on, but I mean, you know, in terms of gameplay and stuff, it looks really, really fun. So, great job. All right. Thank you for that one. That was a good one as well. Let's move on to the next group, which is going to be presented by Nabil. All right. So that is our survival crafting game of the semester. So Nabil, whenever you're ready.
Share sound. There you go and see.
I'm just going to bring you on. Yeah, I can see it. Hold on a second. I'm just going to bring you on to the. Don't start yet. All right. There you go. Anytime you're ready, I'm ready.
Awesome. So we are Team Octaves, and our game is called Project Solstice, the longest night. Our team roles, here's myself as game designer, Jake as game producer, Junho as our UI and tools programmer, Russell is our lead software engineer, and Dusong is our gameplay programmer. I would also generally say that we were all general programmers throughout the entire project. We help each other. Game overview. Our survival sandbox kind of game with a little bit of a tower defense flavor to it. We're a fantasy adventure game, and we are targeting mostly mobile, iOS, and Android. Currently, we think only on Android. We don't have access to that. Yeah. Our game synopsis is: you are a young wizard venturing out into the forest to create the Philosopher's Stone and achieve eternal youth. You only have your magical talents, strategic mind, to survive the night leading up to the solstice. Explore the world, gather resources, create magical towers, and items to protect you from evil. When the night comes, the forest becomes a dangerous place for a novice wizard. Our influences. We were pretty much influenced by a lot of other open world survival games that had some sort of procedural generation involved, or some sort of like crafting and exploring and just gathering many things and then build something. So like 7 Ways to Die, Minecraft, Scrap Mechanics, Space Engineers. These are the games that we talked about in the beginning that we all liked and that wanted to imitate. Mechanics. Exploration. You have a procedurally generated biome for the player to explore. Russell can talk more about this, but the general idea is we're using a Perlin noise texture, 2D texture, and sampling from that texture to generate the world. We have a very long 22-minute video explaining the technicals that Russell made for us, very thankfully. But yeah, if you want to get more into that. But we place the land, and then we place the resources on top, and then the player can walk up to the resources and extract the resources. Another mechanic is resource gathering. Resources are around the map, and you can also use the alchemy table, you see a picture right here, to convert your resources into gold. So you can convert steel into gold, and steel are the piles of steel you see in the world, and then wood is the tree. You also can place towers into the map. There's 4 different types of towers. There's a buff tower, there's a wall tower, there's a slow tower, and then there's a basic attack. And they each have different costs based on the resources and the more powerful towers. That leaves the last mechanic, which is combat. So when night comes, then that's when the creatures start spawning, and you really got to start building your towers to defend yourself while you convert as much steel into gold as possible to try and make stuff. Dynamics. So you have a limited time to find the resources. The day cycles get shorter,
as the game progresses. The longer nights means there's gonna be more enemies. You gotta build more towers to defend yourself. The player has no attacks, so they have to use the towers. You each have different abilities listed here on this picture. What they do, and you have to find resources to make. So we're rewarding the player for exploring and engaging with the world. And like I mentioned before, more powerful the towers cost more resources. By more powerful, we're thinking one of the more magical, slow tower or the bot tower. That first person camera to try and focus the player on what they're doing currently, and so that they can't really see around them. So they kind of have to be aware and listen for the sounds of what's going on to know what to do. Magical creatures, we have three different types. We have a bat, we have a bunny, and a slime. They each have different traversal abilities. The bat can go anywhere. The bunny can hop up and down levels, while the slime can only stay on one level. It was a lot of tinkering with the nav meshes to get that working. I'm pretty sure one of them doesn't use a nav mesh, but do something like that. We have a day-night cycle. So, like I said before, day there's no creatures to attack you, so you're free to explore. But at night, that's when you can still explore and gather resources, but you're going to be attacked, and then if you don't defend yourself, you'll die. Target audience. So we're looking at a casual, intermediate level mobile players. We're looking for a teen rating because you are like killing animals and like using them to create stuff, and there's a bit of a fantasy element to it. So we're aiming for like 13 and up. Any player that plays Minecraft and enjoys exploring a world and building stuff, that's kind of the audience we want. All right, time for a gameplay demo. I'm just gonna play the video. The game is highly unstable, so this video is to make sure that it goes all the way through without any stoppages. Open audio. So that's our loading screen. And so this is our world. This is Jake playing right now. Currently, it's nighttime, so you have an enemy on him right now, but he's going to be walking around and exploring the world. Russell created a spawning system for our world where the world is subdivided into different chunks, and each of the chunks generates the trees and the stone piles and how much dirt is going to be there, what levels are there, and I think as well as nav meshes. Russell, you can correct me if I'm wrong. If you notice, every time he enters a new area, it does just like that hit a little bit. I'll talk about the optimization issues later, but right now he's trying to survive. So it's daytime. When the daytime comes, the animals disappear. So he's no longer being pursued. He's now free to walk around, gather resources, and start building his defense for the next night that comes around. So he's gathering with the trees right now. The trees are varied in sizes, so that they have different amounts of wood. Same with the steel piles. Yeah, there's as you can see, our UI, we try to do our best to not keep it too cluttered, but we had a lot of functionality that we were trying to introduce into the game, so we try to keep the UI intuitive. The thumbsticks, they actually appear where you click on the screen on the mobile. It doesn't really work on LD player, but I tested on my phone. Where you put your thumb down, that's where the joystick appears. For a brief second, there was a TARDIS, but also on our left panel, we have the tutorial where it just teaches the player all the different things that they can do, and just tracks. I think night time. So yeah, our day-night cycle is mainly it's just the shadows get longer, and then right, he's battling. So he's built a little tower, but it's not enough. He needs to keep it attacked. One more hit away. Oh, yeah, right at the end, he tried to create some gold, but so lessons learned. Optimize. So we learned how, well, I guess mostly Russell learned how to optimize his land generation as much as possible using the profiler. So as you see from the image below, we saw where our spikes were, what the process, what calls were happening at that time, and try to figure out how to reduce that spike as much as possible. Right there, it says we have about 191 milliseconds in CPU during that spike. Before our optimizations, that was almost at 400. So we did our best to bring it down, and we got it down to sub 200, and we were pretty satisfied with that. With the time we had. Obviously, that leads into the procedural land generation. I know we learned a lot. Again, Russell learned a lot from the procedural land generation, and Dusong also learned some stuff with getting dynamic nav meshes to also work with procedural land generation, similar to what we did in class, and also getting the pathfinding for it. Another thing that I think we did well was just taking everybody's ideas and just turning it into one thought and packaging it all together and getting it to work and be fun. We also used asset packs, and a lot of us didn't use them before, and we were just learning how to use them and figure out how to best use the resources that we have for the amount of time. What would we do different? We would build to the phone sooner, and actually we would build to the phone from the start. We would want to optimize for mobile as soon as we can. We wanted to set up our assets sooner, and then that leads to having a person that was dedicated to art and I guess more of the aesthetics of what the game looked like. That would have been nice, but we did what we did, and we used what we could to try and make something very sophisticated, and it was very challenging for us. So none of us wanted to do a different game type or like a platformer or pure platform or pure tower defense. We were very happy with picking this open world survival because it was a challenge for us, and we felt confident enough to do our best to achieve it. Future possibilities. We wanted to add some sort of coaching system. Honestly, there were so many ideas flying around near the beginning, and there's still some ideas we didn't get to. One of them being a coaching system for the player. Obviously, we wanted to further optimize the chunk spawning for mobile, just so we can get that seamless, open, like infinite world working properly, and a more sophisticated building crafting system. So more pathways, more things you can build, and then we also wanted to add some player models or animations so that you're not like pulling a ghost character and when you're extracting, you can actually see your hands moving, or when you're building, you see something happen. Yeah, and that's it. That's the end of the presentation.
All right. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, no problem.
So lots of really good stuff. Very different again from everyone else's presentation that we've seen today. In terms of the game that you're producing, you're the only ones that did a survival crafting game, and I think that was that's pretty awesome for you to do that kind of stuff. The tech involved, I think I'm really proud of the tech. Russ, congrats on how you made that look. Again, in terms of future things that you could do with the game going forward, I think there's a lot of technical learnings that you can take away from it. And I think, with a little bit of asset changes, and again, instead of making it look like Minecraft, I mean, you can certainly make it look different than what it looks right now. With your own assets in terms of textures and stuff like that. I think, it could be a fun Minecraft or an alternative survival crafting game that's out there for mobile, right? Because I'll tell you that playing Minecraft for mobile is okay. It's good. But, there's always, people always are looking for new games to play on mobile that kind of are survival crafting. And especially the type of game that you've kind of produced. It looks really, really fun. So, yeah. So lots of stuff. I'm really happy with the outcome. I know that, it was a big ask to try and produce something like this for in one semester, but I think you guys pulled it off really well. So again, really great job, guys. This is something that, again, I would definitely recommend as part of your portfolio. So, and I think you guys made a pretty good team. So I think you guys could take this forward if you really wanted to. Right. So great job.
There's been talks of possibly keep going in the summer. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Why not? I mean, think about this. If you guys had worked this for another year or whatever, and I know it sounds like a long time, but really, that's how games start. They start off with kind of a little nugget, and then you guys can roll this forward and make it something unique, right? So, really good job.
All right, thank you very
Right.
much.
All right, thank you so much for that one. Let's go on to the next group now. We're into Mana Burn. I'm not sure who's presenting, but Mana Burn, that's the group name, and it's called Deadline, the game name. So
Yeah.
whoever's presenting for that, if you want to come
Yep,
forward.
I'll be like,
Okay.
yeah. I think
Whenever
I'll be
you're
fine.
ready. If you want to turn that on, and I'll put you on YouTube.
Sure. Let me pull up the. So the screen share is working.
Yep.
It's working.
We can see it.
All right, great. So we're Mana Burn, and this is our final presentation for our mobile tower defense game Deadline. This is the four of us. So I'm Gabriel at the bottom left corner, and this is all the roles that we had and the responsibilities we were given at the beginning of the semester. We were influenced by like pretty like well-known modern tower defense games like Bloons and Arknights. So like you have waves incoming and you place down things that help you get rid of the enemies before they reach the end of the subpath. Overall, we have a sci-fi vaporwave tower defense game on directed towards Android platforms. We have a few screenshots of it working on a Pixel in the simulator, but it also works on the emulators provided for computers. And that's our main menu screen. That's just the gameplay screen up there. So overall, our game has like basic mechanics of waves and automatic turrets. We use the mobile aspect because most of these games work a lot better on a computer, but the thing so games like Plants vs. Zombies work super well on mobile, but that's because they've been stripped down to a very basic essential. So we tried to use the mobile aspect that we were forced to use to our advantage so we can make a new type of resource gathering. So you slide your finger around the screen to pick up consumables that you can use to buy more turrets. So every consumable will help you in some way survive longer, either by giving you more health, more currency, or more materials to make more turrets. The vaporwave sci-fi was what we chose for our setting because I remember the old days of tower defense flash games. They were always you could buy an archer or you could buy a knight that would swing a sword or something. So the historical setting was already done in terms of medieval, and the fantastical stuff was usually being made in those types of games. But I didn't see sci-fi tower defense games as often, so I thought that would be a super good idea, especially because I think the towers came out super nice in terms of the glow around them. So I think we really let Lucas, who was mostly the art team, shine in the department. It's marketed towards the Android platform. We haven't made an iOS build, but it would probably be easy enough to port over. And we personally, I think it was marketed towards the two-handed mobile game side because usually the more casual side likes to play with one hand, like Candy Crush or Pokemon Go, because it's a lot easier to pull out your phone and just use one hand to swipe left and right to play your game. It's super easy. But if you're a little less busy and you're sitting down, then you can just play the game with two hands. But that usually requires slightly more commitment. I know it sounds a little ridiculous, but that's some sort of mobile game philosophy that I've been hearing. So try to implement that there. The story of our game is that there's a deadline. You're a student who must complete your assignment before the deadline, but there are bugs all over your code, so you have to defeat the bugs or else you'll get a bad grade. And the vaporwave aspect helps calm your mind during the assignment. However, once a certain amount of bugs make it past you, it'll be too much to handle, so be careful. I was mostly inspired because there's always those relaxing musics to study to things on YouTube that everybody uses. So I tried putting some music, some sort of lo-fi music to help put the atmosphere of working on an assignment while it's way too late and you've been procrastinating for too long. Our MDA, which wasn't written, this section was written by Flavio, but I'll take the liberty of reading it. The gameplay works by placing towers outside of the track, so those towers will automatically shoot at your enemies that move along the track as they move towards the end of the path. The player can put these turrets down by spending resources, but they only have a limited amount, and they can only collect them while the rounds are going along. So you can't just wait and farm resources and just win. The player can pick those up and then consume those from their inventory to give themselves resources or money or health. The controls are quite simple. Simply drag your finger around the screen to pick up items, and you can use the menu that's towards your right to either drag off and buy towers or consume from your inventory. There's also, pause, exit, speed up, general things that help you out, like the speed up button. A lot of tower defense games have those when you get to the later rounds, and it's ridiculous. You have to manage your budget and manage where you place your towers. So that's at least some sort of strategy that we have. You can't just do whatever you want and win. The towers have certain properties, so there's 3 types of towers. There was going to be a 4th. It's in the game files, but we didn't end up having time to implement it. There was like a sniper tower we wanted to do. We also have this not really low poly. I don't think that's super true, but it's like it is a vaporwave style. I will say it's not super low poly. I think the inventory is the environment is a little blocky, but I think the neo glowing is definitely what we were going for. The main audience is definitely casual mobile audiences that enjoy like some sort of strategy games, but not like the super casual side that only play like Candy Crush, as I said earlier. So you still would need to be somewhat of a gamer already to enjoy something like this, but definitely it's something you could just pick up and put down because of how often the game saves, so you can just put it away. So I'll be demoing, but Perry or Flavio was the one doing it on an emulator. I personally don't have an emulator set up currently. So here I can either tag out and let Flavio present the rest, or if you don't mind, I can just play it in the Unity simulator, if that's all right. Or I can tag it over and
whatever you think is best, guys. I'm good.
Okay. Do I still have access to the screen? Oh, well, I was going to do this after, but now I can't seem to escape except by pressing escape. All right. I'll just make sure I have the latest poll first. Make sure nobody made any last minute updates.
If you want, I could show it off.
Because I'm pretty sure you have it working on an emulator, and I think that would be a much better idea because it working in the simulator isn't exactly what was demanded, and I'm not the one who set up the simulator for all the videos, so
Right.
you can move on. I can talk while you present. I don't mind that, but provided you just do the simulator stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can start sharing. I will end my share.
Yeah. So let me share mine. All right, LD player. Let's do it. Everyone can see it properly, right?
I can see it.
Okay, and just LD player, correct?
I think so.
Yep.
Okay. Now, as Gab mentioned, we did have a bit of an issue with time.
It's a black screen.
It's loading up.
Oh, okay. There we go.
And volume, is that good for everyone?
I can't hear it though.
Yeah, you have to share. You have to share your volume. Change your not on the LD player, but on your
share
your
settings
Zoom.
on
Yeah.
Zoom.
Yep.
Okay. Computer audio.
There we go.
Is that good or
No, can't hear a thing.
No, go to the in-game options. Is the volume turned down in game?
hold on.
Oh no, okay, that's fine.
It might be just how the share screen works. Hold on.
Zoom bad.
Now?
No,
I don't want to say it, but no.
it's okay. Just
But you just did.
just okay. Just
Yeah, I know.
just continue.
Well,
Don't worry.
you're sharing your whole screen.
Yeah.
You're not sharing just the application. That might be it.
Well, no, I was sharing the application solely before, and now I switched it to the screen.
Flavio, just continue, please. Don't worry.
Yeah.
All right,
So
all
we
right,
have
no problem.
music. It's fine. So if you click play, it might load our last save from our last
Yeah, it will load the last save.
from the last video we made. Yeah. So there you go. We already have 3 towers placed down. You can see the pickups going down on the floor there. So once you hover your mouse over them, which would be your finger in this scenario, you pick up the object. So try going over to your inventory and consuming a few. So
Nom 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 nom.
there you go. You can get yourself some HP and you can get yourself some scrap. That way you can build more towers. So put down like a whatever. There we go. And then you can start up the next wave once you think you're ready.
And let's go.
Oh well,
Too
that was the first wave because
No,
it
harder.
started. So the more you go on, the harder the waves are going to be.
Harder.
And harder.
Yes.
And once you get to ridiculous amounts of enemies that are just way too long, kind of like in the monkey blooms.
Balloon monkeys.
Yeah, you can click the speed up button, but right now it seems a little ridiculous. You can also kind of spawn camp with that one tower. But yeah, once it gets to the later rounds, there gets to be more and more towers and more like enemies that show up. So if ever you would lose, this is the dev build, so you can lose on purpose by pausing and clicking game over. Oh yeah, also we have a top-down mini-map.
Yep.
So you'll see you lasted 11 rounds, which is pretty small. You're usually not supposed to last that little, but that's what you would see if you were to miss your deadline. So you can restart from your current wave, play again to restart from the beginning, or return to the main menu. That's up to you. We've demoed the game, so.
Yeah.
All right. I can go back to the presentation and finish up with lessons learned. I'll try to make it a little bit quicker than the current way I've been talking. So one of the problems was definitely what is it? We made the towers before thinking of how we were going to do savings, so that definitely made saving a lot more difficult. Next time we would probably think of how to save before how to make something like a core mechanic, because that usually gets in the way. Another problem we had is that we wanted to work on the game a lot more than make the common requirements. So one of our presentations definitely lost some marks on the fact that we were missing some common requirements because we were too focused on this idea and then that idea. So that's definitely some things that we learned on the way. And in the future, we could definitely implement more tower types. We already had the sniper tower in production, but we didn't have enough time to finish that. So it was a great opportunity to work together as a team. If we had more time, I'm pretty sure we could make something that we were a lot more proud of, but we did have a lot of other games to work on, all of us together, because we usually try to work together for every group thing. So, yeah, the game itself
Is what we got.
is what we got, pretty much. So there you go.
That concludes our presentation.
That's deadline. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. Yeah, just a couple comments. I think there's things that are missing, that I would have liked to see, but and just if we start with your presentation itself, I urge you guys, reduce your text. Okay, I'll tell you, I've seen lots of presentations from different schools, to different presenters, to people like to guys from Ubisoft or from other kind of AAA studios where they were guests at times, and the feedback always is, make it more of a story, reduce your text, that kind of stuff, more images, get to the gameplay as fast as possible, I think is the feedback that I always hear. And then, if they really want you, they're going to find you, which is something that, is interesting. But the point that I'm trying to make for you guys is that I think that your presentation is pretty like it's black, right? And there's a lot of text. In fact, more like your notes that you would read as opposed to things that we should see, right? The images that you use could be expanded upon, and I think that that is something that you need to do. It doesn't matter whether it's for me or some other, kind of game course or whatever in the future, a game jam or some kind of submission that you're going to have, to potential investors or someone else. You need to keep it, kind of together, and it has to be. Think about your audience, think about who you're presenting to, and what you're putting together. The slides, although you may think they're not important, are important. So that's one. In terms of what I would have liked to see for the game, I think, what it is for me, I think it's the camera angle that you used for where your tower defense game is. I know what you're trying to accomplish, but I would have liked to see the ability for me to, to even maybe control the camera at the end. I know that it's an isometric game, which kind of reduces the ability for you to move things around. But I think even moving the game board, which is what it looks like around, or zooming in on a specific area or whatever, might have been, kind of an opportunity for us to see some of the assets that you're using in more detail, especially some of the bloom and the glow and all those things that you wanted to add in there. It's hard to really make out, at least from viewing it online. What it looks like actually on the game is a totally different thing. But when I see it here in your presentation, it's kind of, it would have been nice to see more, is what I'm saying. Right? So I think that's where I would go with it when it comes to the feedback. But otherwise, I'm glad you guys went through the process. I think you guys are a good team, that you guys have worked together before, and I'm glad you're working together on other projects. I think there's, I think there's some really good stuff that you've put out there. I just think that you could have, if given enough time or maybe more priority, I think this could have been really good for you, right? So,
Right.
Yeah.
Sure. And if anyone else has any comments or suggestions, feel free to mention.
I will say our presentation was definitely super word heavy. I tried to make some of the slides have some pictures, but we ended up kind of just plastering a lot of text on it. I was reading through it and I was like, this is taking way too long as I was reading it. But that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
it's good. It's good learning.
If anything, we
take
should have
the-
tried something similar to something more unique. If anything.
That's the way it is.
Well, you could have, or just made it more, like I said, more images, so.
Yeah, more pictures.
So that's fine. Anyways, thank you so much, guys. We're going to move on to the next group now. So
you.
we're moving on to Quintet with Ivan. Whenever you're ready, Ivan. Ivan, you there? Maybe we're a little bit a minute early for Ivan. He's supposed to come on anytime now. Okay. Well, to keep things moving, Ivan, I'm not sure if you're on or not, or anyone else from Ivan's team for Group Quintet, which is the final line.
Yeah, I got it.
All right.
There you are. There's Ivan. Okay, Ivan, whenever you're ready.
Sorry?
Whenever you're ready, we're ready for you.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing I need to open this left is my document. I don't mind.
Ivan, also, your team did not submit your presentation document. Is there a reason for that?
I think it's just probably some mismanagement, and I think it's more like my fault. I just messed up the times and the dates, but yeah, if I still have a chance, I'll do that for sure.
Well, actually, I need you to do it like right now. So if someone from your team can please go online and submit, that would be great. Even though the presentation should have been submitted last night, it is still open for submission. So can I get one of your team, please, to submit right away? whatever you have.
Sure.
And whenever you're ready to go, we can, while they're doing that, I can get you to go and do your presentation so we can move on.
Um,
Do you need more time, Ivan? I can potentially move on to somebody else. So I want to keep this going.
I just can't find something. Yeah, so that's really embarrassing.
It's okay. Why don't we do this? Lawrence, are you ready for me? Lawrence, you there? I'm not sure if Lawrence is on right now.
Yeah, Lawrence could be on right now.
So if I can get Lawrence to come on instead of Ivan, then we'll switch you guys up and we'll get Lawrence to come on first. Then Ivan, you can take your time and get ready. So Lawrence, whenever you're ready, I would ask that you come on first, please.
Hello?
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me as well?
Yes.
All right, sounds great.
Before we start, just wanted to make sure if you had seen or received my email about the final submission for the milestone.
Yes, I saw it. And like I said, I'm totally fine with it. Can you stick around afterwards or come back or maybe hit me up on Discord and then I'll make sure you have a chance to submit.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
It should be good. Let's make sure my LP player is doing what it should be doing. But you can get started, Matthew. But he's going to get started and then I'm going to tag on it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You want to share? I'm ready for you.
Oh, never mind. I was trying to share the screen.
And you showed your face. That's okay.
Yeah.
Are you having trouble sharing your screen too?
Yeah. So pretty much I go to start video.
No, you go to share screen.
Share screen button at the bottom.
The share screen at the bottom of
arrow.
your.
Oh, okay. I see now.
Yeah.
All right. There we go.
Awesome.
All right.
All right.
All the way to the top. Okay. So hello everyone. We're Team Saberbomb. Here's our logo. Here's each member's and our roles. Lawrence is the game producer. I'm Matthew. I'm the game designer. Raymond's lead software engineer. Nick is the audio engineer. And Young Sub, also known as Teddy, is the UI and tools programmer and technical artist. And Benning, also known as Chris, is the gameplay programmer. So our game is Pyramid Kingdom Defense. Pyramid Kingdom Defense is a 3D tower defense game. And it's based on ancient Egypt, designed for PC and mobile game devices. The game doesn't have any controller support. Mainly, there's like a drag and drop system, or when you can click on things as well. You tap on the screen. The game's story is set back in ancient Egypt. There's an evil force of enemies such as mummies and an evil cultists that are trying to destroy Tut's pyramid and take over the kingdom and rule over the kingdom as well. Guards of the pyramid create different weapon towers to defeat the enemy waves and defend the pyramid. The influences that we had of the Pyramid Kingdom Defense, or PKD, is Bloons Tower Defense, Dota 2, Clash Royale, and Dungeon Defenders 2. So the mechanics, dynamics, and aesthetics of the game. Pretty much for this game, the towers are placed on its cell of the grid. The grid is kind of like a checkerboard. The enemies are able to navigate to the pyramid, and that is their main objective, and destroy the pyramid. The player has the option to place one of the four tower types on each grid. There's a sniper tower which can shoot from long ranges. There's the cannon tower which is kind of like the normal tower but has a faster fire rate. A flame tower which shoots fireballs at the enemies and destroys. Well, not really destroys, but they hurt the enemy from around the area of the enemy. And an ice tower that will shoot at the enemy and freeze the enemies for a second. The dynamics is when an enemies die, you collect a bit of resources automatically, and you start with enough resources to build 4 towers on the grid. And you also need to have the required number of resources to build each tower, which is 10 bricks, 5 gold, and 2 diamonds. The aesthetics is that we have towers and pyramids, which are 3D models, and we also have 3D models and animations for the enemies. I got the 3D models from Mixamo. The target audience, as long as you can touch the screen and tap, and also if you can breathe. Jokes aside, target audience for PKD is everyone 10 and up, since there's a small bounce with the towers shooting at the enemies. And Lawrence is now going to present the live game demo.
Okay. I have to drop sharing.
Stop sharing. There we go.
Okay. Do you guys can see everything clearly?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So here's a menu. Play explaining the options, which currently just have a volume slider, credits, and we have a load function. So our loading screen sometimes is bugged. Where I've seen it work, it works. Show up. So if it's too loud, it's down. That.
I can't really
So
hear.
we have our enemies here. To the bottom, you have your towers. We have a grid system that shows up in grab. You can just put down. Each of these towers has a different thing. So one of the towers will slow them down. One of the sniper tower. One has an area spec. They all have different abilities. And I'll get into this when I introduce these future possibilities, but one of the things that will definitely be changed is having more visual elements, let the player know what's going on with each of the towers. Also, as you can see at the bottom here, we have these different designs. Again, we'll get into it after about optimization, but for the sake of optimization, we have to actually change all the models for the AI and the towers. We have a wave system. We have resources here in the top corner, which you gain from defeating enemies. Wave, more enemies show up, and it changes the actual type. Another element of optimization is we actually have to change the model. So we do have 4 models that we can show off, but we have to change them for the sake of optimization. Due to the amount of time we had, we weren't able to and keep it optimized. Handy. We have a pause working. Mini map here in the corner. We also have post effects going on. So we have
we have a bunch of post effects going on in the background, which is something that we, from our last presentation, made this making the place look a little better. So textured floors, we can move luminance on the pyramid, we have pyramids in the background. We actually have to change the background a few times due to optimization, so we have too many dog holes. And we also have our save function. So if I close and leave the game, and then
I think it's in the pause menu.
oh yeah, you're right. Okay. Pause menu. And I just upload. So it's literally working this morning. Well, it's supposed to save the actual waves icon. And yeah, it does not save the towers or the enemies just because we didn't feel section. With that, now I'm going to share that. The slides, or do you want to bring the slides?
I can bring it up. Okay. And we're back with the slides.
So let's learn. So there are a lot of concepts that we had in the course of the project, and not all of them came to pass. There's a number of things that we would like to add, but we had to attempt throughout, and it's something that we're constantly learning how to do. Getting started on milestones. So some of the milestones, certain elements would have been started closer to the release of. Ideally, start earlier on certain elements. And just managing stress. That's another thing. It's just multiple projects going on. So managing what people can and cannot work on, what needs to be worked on, is pretty important. Future possibilities. So there's a launcher list, progression system, more engaging wave systems, game fields, more AI systems. Originally, we had planned for the AI to dynamically pick between target ends, between the towers and final goal, and to act as act system, more animation based and all that. Wall system, which we had bucket list pretty much the entire semester. And we got close to implementing it, but never, we're never ever able to get to a just so that the player can have more agency over them. Tower persuadability, another one that is we're right there at the line of almost integrating it. And much more performance optimization. Another good one. We had our game was not very performant not that long ago, and as I'm sure you guys saw in the presentation, it was exceedingly performant. So there's definitely a lot more that we could do there. Leaderboard is definitely a thing that we would like, and it's possible. Moonshot, maybe multiple. And I mentioned in the presentation thing, it's having more visual representation of what the colors are actually doing, what they're looking at, what is the area of effect, what kind of abilities they have. Okay, so any questions?
All right. Thank you for that. I'm just going to move you guys along because just for the sake of time, I'm so sorry. But let's do the next part, which is so just a little bit of feedback that I wanted to present to you guys. Again, I think you guys are missing some elements of your final release that kind of aren't in play. I would have liked to see things like an inventory system that worked kind of along the lines of the resources. I didn't really see that. I'm not sure if that was something that I missed in your presentation.
So there are resources.
Yeah, I saw the resources, but I'm not sure how they.
But I would say in this build, it's pretty generous with the resources.
Yeah.
Just for the they are.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just see. I'm just not sure how they're linked to, you know, to
So-
your
So
to your towers.
basically, each tower requires a certain combination of resources.
Yeah.
And what we had planned was walls would just require bricks, and the towers would require certain combinations you have to keep that in line, and
Yeah.
certain enemies would have a higher chance of suffering. It doesn't really come through in the presentation.
Yeah, so I think those are the things that I would have liked to see. I think your slides are okay. I think they're organized well in terms of the content. Although maybe your MDA slide could have been broken out. I think I've told you guys that before. In the last in your checkpoint, I probably would have broken out that MDA slide into a few. That's just me. Again, it's all about storytelling, narrative, more than anything else for me. But in terms of your demo, I think that's where you have some glitches, some stuff, and this is where Lawrence, you may have elected to, record and then show a recording similar to what Kat did, let's say, or our first group, Ravens group, who recorded their demo, which is very, very well done. Those kind of things. I think that's what I'm saying during game day. Like this is like kind of presentation day. It's something that I would have done, and then it would also have. Kind of reduce some of your stress too, your pressure, to get things going and to make things work. And you could have done it with a single presenter instead of swapping between the two. So that's just some feedback. This is just if you were going to take it to, like, let's say somewhere else, a game jam or something else that you want to show off your work, or whatever. I think it's probably best, if you consolidate those things and just be a little bit more organized in your demo. But otherwise, I think, for me, it's mission accomplished because you've done what I've asked. You've made up, kind of your tower defense game. There are some really interesting elements. I like the theme and those kind of things, like we mentioned last time, your Egyptian theme and so on. I think it'd be really good. In terms of your assets and all those things, you mentioned a bunch of optimizations that you had to do to remove or swap out assets. Again, I think your game needs another pass. If I was going to say, like, just one more round of coding, and another release would be good, or two, in terms of making things work the way they're supposed to work. But that's just the way I see it. Post-processing effects are interesting, but I always look at and say, and this is just general feedback for everybody here, they're good, but I think you have to focus on your gameplay and your performance first, and then add post-processing effects like I think I saw ambient occlusion, and other things like that in your game. And I think I would have reduced.
Yeah, so we
kind of those
actually
things.
didn't remove that just because. Sorry. No, we actually didn't remove that profiling. We found that actually wasn't where the problems were.
Okay.
Most of the problems were actually
The model. Yeah. You're probably your enemy
related
models.
to
I'm guessing, right? So, but yeah, I mean, I think again, really good. Kind of a really good progression from last time. But again, just feedback for you guys to take it further. I think there's a lot that you can add to this one. So again, for you and Matthew, thank you so much for presenting. And I think we need to move on to Ivan.
Thank you.
Great job, guys. And Lawrence, just hit me up later on Discord, and I'll open up the submission box for you. Okay. All right. Thank you, Ivan. Thank you, Matthew. Are you ready, Ivan?
I think yeah. So sorry for what happened before, but yeah, I think now I can continue. All right. So I start with the presentation and then continue with the game.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
Sure. So I'll just start streaming in a second. I need to remember how to do that.
It's just a share button on the bottom.
Share. Is it on the bottom?
On the bottom. There's a share button on the bottom.
Oh, right in the middle. I see.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, I'll stream the entire screen.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. All right. I have a green highlight on the edges. Can you see my Google?
Yeah, we see everything now. You're ready to go.
Okay, amazing. Okay, so my name is Ivan. I'm gonna present for our team quintet with the game final line. what we've done this semester, and what eventually the game ended up. So I'll just quickly mention all the amazing teammates I had who contributed to this game. So that's on the top right, me, my picture. On the left is David, the game designer. On the bottom right is Bohan, our lead engineer, and the amazing Hannah and June, the rest of the developers. So I'm just gonna mention the game world a little bit. So basically, this is a little bit of a different type of tower defense game than we usually we see. Usually we have a specific paths that are kind of made where the enemies will follow. Here, the challenge will be that you can't really know where the enemy will come from because the world is circular, and it's like on 360. The enemy can come from every spot. That's why you will have to. The challenge is that you will have to think of which obstacles you want to use and where you want to place all the pretty much defense systems. Yeah, and like in multiple things can be the obstacles, just literal fences, lights, and even the things that are gonna shoot the enemies. They can be as a fence as well. So the important thing is that you need to really think of how many resources you spend on the things. You gather resources by destroying enemies. You have some resources given in the start of the game. So those will be very, the word crucial to think what you're gonna spend them on. And yeah, so for example, I'll show later in the game that yeah, sorry. Basically, the number of the count of enemies will be increasing, right? And even in probably in the beginning, you may survive those first upcoming zombies with a basic defense, with a basic base turret. But after you would need resources, and you won't be able to build those resources back with just killing the first few enemies. So when the rest of them will come, you're not going to be ready for that. So the first resources you have are very, very important for you to very important how you use them. So we have a limit of I think 20 zombies, basically up to the 20 zombies. It started with just 2, then it started with 2, then 5, 15, 20. So multiple ways. So the first one will be like very easy. You can do the regular turret can destroy that. And there will be different zombies that have different stats. So you gotta think which ones you want to face and destroy before the other ones. So okay, basically it's gonna be so the interesting thing that you won't really have to change the levels. It's going to be the same level. So basically, you also gotta be thinking of so all the ways it's going to be the same level, and you gotta think how in the end you want your turrets to be placed. So right from the beginning, so let's say if you want all the sides of the base to be covered in the end, because in the end there will be lots of enemies coming from all the sides. You have to think and to place the turrets from every side of the base. So it's so defended from every side. Basically the regular theme, so it's easier to kind of easier to understand the aesthetics is just the zombie apocalypse, and basically the player has a base that can build modern defense systems, which you can use against the enemies. So the only thing you have left to do is try and survive. Basically, this kind of game is, I guess, has like quite a range of audience. Very much, you can, the visual part isn't very I don't know the better English word, isn't that cool, but at the same time it can be pretty fun for more mature audience that are interested in different technologies. So the kids will be able to play and not, I don't know, really get hurt, and mature people will find their fun in trying different sci-fi like mechanisms, pretty much. So yeah, what's the lessons that have been learned throughout the progress of the production is that it's really important how we plan all the milestones. So in the end, we have everything done. So maybe not even every day, every week something has to be done. Because even for this little project with that many team members, it still constantly something has to be done, because it may seem that there's not that much of work, but still it's going to eventually end up as a lot of it. So yes, I guess as I just said, management. So like basically on a daily basis, weekly basis, you have to just by little you have to implement something. What I guess the fun experience that we face that I guess you can't really practice on your own is that when some of the elements during production, they have to be merged together, let's say. So even though we were a team, we had during the progress, we were sometimes we were divided in different smaller teams, because let's say somebody is doing bullets and somebody is doing turrets, and eventually they need to merge their stuff so it works together. Play around with it, test it how it works. So that kind of, yes, and also it's all of these things. So every person, so we have, let's say 1 week, and every person does them maybe in the beginning of the week, another in the end of the week. So another thing is to try kind of match with the schedules of your other teammates. So it's not that you only do something on a daily basis, it's other people, and from time to time you have to basically merge things together. So yeah, and the meetings really help that to happen. So the bi-weekly or weekly meetings, those kind of things can happen. So when you've finish one thing, another person finish another thing, you can basically during the meeting talk about how you can merge it. So the game pretty much has faced most of the requirements. I guess the only things that we haven't faced is that maybe the regional ambitions we had. Multiple times we would scale down things, change it, because I guess when we start the game, we always think, oh, we're going to do that and we're going to do this, but eventually some of those things just unfortunately unrealistic with the time given. So we could do much more different types of things to build, different turrets, maybe different types of fences, different more complicated behavior for the enemies. Always, there are infinite things you can do to the game. The game can never be stopped in with development. So that was one thing. Yeah, just give me a second to before I continue. Yeah, always something just basically can be improved. And I guess the final thing, I just wanted to finally show the way of the game plays. I'm gonna be presenting through the LD player of build. Is there a way with the Zoom to stream the sound directly through the PC mixer, or?
Yes, there is. Yeah, you have to turn on sound. There's so if you look at this.
I guess if you would just give me a moment, I'll put my headphones on so you wouldn't hear it twice because I'm on my speaker, and I don't want you to hear weird noises coming from that. Yeah. All right. Okay. If I'll launch the game, there will be in the title screen. There will be some music, and if you hear it, then it means we can continue. If you don't hear anything right now, I guess I'll need to change some settings.
Yeah, so you have to go to your settings because we don't hear anything. If you want us to hear the music, it's not in your LD player, but in your in your Zoom settings for sharing. If you look at the sharing settings, on the bottom left, there should be some settings for as an example, turn on sound, computer sound.
Just click share sound.
Share sound.
Yeah. You hear? Yeah, it should be very scary, spooky noises going. Do you hear them?
It's probably very low, but.
I'm not sure if the mixture. No, it shouldn't be the mixture. Should be definitely.
Anyways, let's move on. Don't worry about it. Let's move on. Hopefully you're going to record that for me another time. Let's go on.
Okay, start. So basically all the buttons, everything it says it's on audio, go straight to the game. So all right, so we start in the level. The first thing, you have some basically resources you can use. There are prices for the building, for the things you can build. The thing is, you cannot build the turrets before you have the energy generators, which actually also cost some. You have to place those first, and only after that you will be able to place the turrets that will eventually help you to destroy. I'll just hide this one here so the enemy cannot destroy it. So in case if I place something in front of the enemy, it will start damaging it. So always need to think of where you want to place the things you build, right? So right now we see I'm out of energy. So basically each generator has enough energy to produce for 2 turrets on average. So after I've built this one new, I'll just maybe save up some after. So second wave when. Actually it's the third one already. You can see that probably if it says just actually also the quality is good enough to put the game. So yeah. Oh my God, we lost. So with a specific, we're finished with a specific score. If we won, we can play more time. But basically, the thing is, Yeah, just probably I would want to show some more how the rest of the turrets work, just real quick. So the load game I also show as well. The load game is saving the wave that you finish at when you after you click the save button. So quickly, I guess I'll just build one generator, and I'm gonna have, I guess, enough resources to build two. I'll build one laser turret, and for now, I'll place one. Okay, the laser turret. Laser turret requires more resources. I forgot about that. So, so the more powerful the turret is, the more energy it requires. So, basically, you have to really think of that. So now I need to save up some resources for another turret. So those are the latest ones. That are multiple other ones. There's just basically some of them like vary in the way how much damage they make, or how much health they have. So yeah, I think that should be pretty much it. So I can save. I saved the wave 2. I'm gonna pause. I'm going to go to main menu. And if I load the game, I should load the game with a wave. Okay, it didn't save it. That's so. Did I click the thing? Yeah, maybe that part. I was able to present it in the previous check point submission. It was there. I need to probably think of what would be the issue right now. That probably was one of the bugs we couldn't discover. But besides that, I'm not sure what else can I mention. Are there any questions I can answer?
All right. So you covered everything. So let me give you some feedback then. So again, overall, I think there's some of the same things I've told other groups. I want to tell you. One thing just to mention before we move on is you won't be able to get your live demo video marks unless you submit a live demo video, which as of what I'm looking right now, you haven't done that yet. So if you don't do that by tomorrow, then your mark on I'm just saying your mark for that thing will be 0. So just letting you know. In terms of your presentation, I did like your slides. I think the slides were well organized in terms of what they look like and so on. I think they have a unique style to them with the whole duct tape thing, which looks good. Overall, just in general, I think your slides exactly are the right balance, I would say, for in terms of what I would look for. Some slides are a little bit wordy, like for example in your game dynamics and those kind of things, like in that little section. But at least it's only half the page compared to the entire page. So I've seen worse. I prefer slides like your game story slide and your target audience slide and your lessons learned slide. Like the later slides are better in terms of the number of, or just in general, how much text you have. Although I would have liked to see more images in general. So that's kind of something that I would go with. However, your presentation itself, Ivan, I'm sorry to say, it felt rushed. It felt unorganized. It felt like you were ad-libbing at times. And I got to give you that feedback because that's how it felt. I think you could have at least scripted some of the things you wanted to say ahead of time to cut down on the just on everything that you said and make it more a little bit succinct and to the point. You could have said the same things just by being a little bit more organized. And then in terms of your gameplay, itself, you obviously have some issues in terms of your your production, your demo, and so on. And there's some things that are working okay, and there's some things that are missing. But I think some of those things that you could have, again, pre-recorded or even gone through the video, done some more troubleshooting, produced a stable build. Like there's a lot of stuff you could have done for today. And that really caused you to kind of hiccup and go back and start over again and all those kind of things. And these are all the things that would impact you if you were, let's say, presenting or competing with another group. All right. So I don't think your product is a bad product. necessarily, or that it's a bad concept. I think the concept is good. Your ideas are fine. Execution is what I'm worried about, and the time frame, the things that you've done. So that's my feedback to you. I know that it's maybe not everything that you're looking for, but I think in general, I think you guys are you need. That's one thing that you if you were a little bit more organized, I think in general it could have been much better, right? So, but overall, I'm happy that you finished. I'm happy that you've got some kind of product that you can build upon, and I think there's opportunities for you guys to really iterate on this one with, like you said in your lessons learned and future possibilities. Some kind of another iteration or two could have made this game, what you probably would have wanted it to be. Okay, so that's my feedback to you. So I've given you preliminary marks online, and I've done that for every group so far. In order for you to change that mark, then it's your job to submit a video that you're missing for your presentation. Otherwise, that's it for me for today. For so far for today. I know we have another group that is planned to come on later on today. Thank you so much, Ivan. But that is supposed to be at 2 p.m. Right now we're sitting close to 1 p.m., which means that we have about an hour break. Again, for those people who can come on, that would be great if you can come on later on. If you can't, and if you have to run away, and if you have other plans for today, that's okay too. But we'll resume the kind of the game presentations at 2 p.m. with Oof Town Games, and Michael will be presenting his tower defense game at that time. All right. Otherwise, that's it for us right now. I'm going to stop this recording, and what we'll do is we'll pause it, and we'll come back at 2 p.m. Okay. Any questions or comments before we go? I may not see some of you again for the foreseeable near future, but I wanted to tell you guys that, again, super proud of all the stuff you've done this semester. I think there's been a lot of learnings for everyone, and I think this is in a single semester for you guys to produce any kind of game at all. I think speaks volumes to your professionalism and the way you guys are able to work together during COVID, which has been a real challenge for everybody. So I think just final words before we go for the people that are presented. Great job, guys. And I haven't done this yet, but I want to give you guys a kind of a hand clap for me, because I think you guys did. For the people who produced stuff today, fantastic job. And looking forward to seeing more from you in the future. I want to hear more from you. Please connect with me again if we don't see each other, but otherwise I'll see the next group at 2, and that's it for me for right now. Okay, guys, thanks so much. And then Lauren.